Okay, now, good evening, everyone. Happy weekend. There's a protest in the area. You're welcome to this session. My name is Kilichuka Jago. I'm a designer with 8 years of design experience and 3 years in product design. I ventured into product design 3 years ago. Today, I will guide you through color theory to help you better understand colors in design and how it can affect our design outcome. You are free to ask questions at the end of this session and I'll answer them to the best of my knowledge. So we will begin. So I'm going to share my screen now so we can start. Okay. Um, sorry. Okay. So color theory. So let's start with the introduction. Color actually can psychologically inform our moods, emotions, and thoughts. What does that mean? It means when looking at colors, it can actually invoke our emotions to actually know the kind of product or what that color actually means. Take for instance, you see red color, most times it means danger, and maybe yellow most times. Let's use the traffic light. You see red, it means to obviously stop. Yellow means get ready. Then green means you're good to go. So, mere looking at it, if you see a marking scheme that red, yellow, and green were used, you would understand that yellow means in between, and red means fail, and green means pass. So that kind of way, color can actually inform our mood, emotion, and thoughts. In follow-up to that, according to the Institute of Color Research, subconscious judgment about a product is almost immediately made within seconds of seeing it. And a large percentage of this is based on colors alone, like what I just explained. Now, we know as product designers, most of us have this challenge of incorporating colors in our interface that would actually um, communicate our brand's visual identity. This is actually a problem across designers. Um, we can use what we call the color theory. It's a multi-layered set of guidelines that informs us on the use of color in design. So let's talk about color models. Now, color actually has two different nature. We have the tangible color, which can be seen on surfaces and physical surfaces, leaves, natural environment, the walls. Those are actually tangible colors. Then we have colors produced by light. These are colors that can be produced by our devices. As you are looking at this laptop, you would, as you're looking at the laptop, you would understand that uh, color, you can see the color from the laptop, can see colors for your mobile devices. So this kind of colors actually are called addictive colors and they are produced by light. So for further explanation, addictive colors are the RGB color scheme. These are colors created by light and it starts with um, the blank screen. So if you notice, when your phone is turned off, it's blank. You can't see anything. But when colors start adding, it start changing and you can see the um, the the display of your phone or your laptop. So this is actually called additive color. The primary colors of additive colors are red, green, and blue. Then the subtractive color, I explained before, the tangible colors that can be seen on surfaces. These are colors that are created by subtracting light. So when you go outside, the light is bright, you just see plain white. When colors are subtracted from that light, you start seeing different kinds of colors. So these are subtractive colors, and they are usually used in printing because when you print on surfaces, you use the subtractive color. So if you notice, if you have a little idea of designing and printing, most times you can design on RGB, but when it comes to printing, the printer would advise you convert to CYMK, which is the subtractive color scheme to further print on surface. So CYMK means cyan, yellow, magenta, and key. The key represents the black. So now let's talk about the color theory. So the basics. So from my explanation, it says color theory is a framework that informs the use of color in design, guides the curation of color palettes, and facilitates the effective communication of design message on both an artistics and a psychological level. So um, the modern color theory, which is what we have on the left side, was created by Isaac Newton. It's a basic color wheel that displays the categories of color, like I explained, and it's majorly based on additive colors. Like I explained, additive colors, the primary colors are the red, the green, and the blue. Now, on the color wheel, the opposite colors complement each other. So we can have, so the arrow represents the red color, and the down part is cyan. So what I'm trying to say by complement each other is the opposite of red in color theory, or this color wheel, is the cyan color. I can further explain on Figma. So for instance, you can have this frame. Now, this color code, the name of it is called the hex color code, and it's a hexadecimal hex color code. It means it ranges from 0 to 16. So it starts from 1 to 9, then 10 is represented as A, B is represented as B, C is represented as, um, sorry, 10 is represented as A, 11 is represented as B, 12 represented as C, 13 represented as D, 14 represented as E. I'm sorry, 14 represented as, yeah, E, 15 represented as F. So it's a color code, hexadecimal color code. I'm sure you see it a lot when using your Figma. So to start with, I explained that the color scheme is the additive color scheme is the RGB. It's used, it means the red. Sorry, let me make the text bigger so we can all see it. The red, okay, I actually have it here. So the red, the green, and the blue. So it means RGB. So the if you notice that the white hexadecimal code is made up of 6 Fs. The first 2 Fs represent the red part of the color. The middle 2 Fs represent the green part, and the last 2 Fs represent the blue part. So if we're going to have a pure red color, obviously what we'll do is turn off turn the green and the blue part to 0. So if we make the green and the blue part 0, the color turns to red. So the hexadecimal color code of red is double F, then 4 zeros. And we can see it here, double F, 4 zeros. So to get the opposite of red, which is the cyan, we'll have to have the F will be turned off. The red part of the RGB color code, the hex color code will be turned off. Sorry, let me go back to zeros, and the green parts will be turned off. The green part will be turned off to full Fs, like opposite of 0 will be like is either the fullest or the minimum. So going back to our work here, if I were to create a new frame and turn these 2 parts to zeros and leave the green and the blue part, the color will turn to cyan. So it means that red is a complement of the cyan color, and it can be evident in the color coding. So that works for every other, the blue being what's it called, a complement of yellow, just like that. So let's further talk about color wheel. This is a modern color wheel, which is broader, with representations of hues, tints, shades, tones, and various other primary and secondary colors. So hues means the dominant color. So the pure colors are called the hues. The hues, you can see this one, the red and the cyan. These are pure. This is a pure red hue and a pure cyan hue. So we could when you have different, when you can change like maybe variations of the red, you can call them tints, shades, and tones. So let's further explain what a shade, tint, and tone is. So tones are created when you add gray to a hue. When you add any range of gray to a hue, you get it toned down. Then a tint is when you add pure white to the original hue, and shade is when you add pure black to the original hue. So to further explain to you how you can make, okay, let's talk about mixing color before we talk about how we can actually get tones and shades. So mixing colors could be done by adding the arrow sections of the 2 colors and dividing by any number from 2 to 10. So the same likewise for green, the green parts of the color, you can add them and divide by the value. You can use an average, or you can just divide by any range. The same thing for blue. You can add the values and divide by 2. So take for instance, I'm going to mix red and blue. So mixing red and blue on the color would give me something similar, like a magenta color, which is, so from the color we can actually know the color you get when you mix 2 colors. It's usually the color in between the two colors you're mixing. So from this, I'm going to get a shade of magenta. So from the explanation, I can further demonstrate it here. So let's say this is a white, and I'm trying to create a mix red and blue. So we know red is FF and 4 zeros. Blue would actually be four zeros and the two F, so to create a blue color. So I'm going to mix red and blue to actually prove that it's going to get the color in the middle, the magenta color. So and I'm going to do it using the RGB color coding scheme. So we have been explaining with hex, but I'm going to do it. So RGB color scheme starts from 0 to 255. 255 is the max. So the double F represents 255 in this case, and 0 represents 0. So from the RGB color scheme, you can see that 255 is the max, which is like FF. So, but we're using 255 in this case. So to mix the red and the blue, the red in, so let's 255, 0, 0, and yes, 0, yeah. So mixing it would be adding this part with this part, the 0, the 40 plus this 255 here divided by 2. So that would be 127. The second part, 0 plus 0 divided by 2, is obviously 0. And 255 plus 0 divided by 2 be 127. And what do we have? We have magenta. So we can mix two colors, two major hues, by dividing it by a value. So one thing you should know is that it will always give you a range of the magenta. So if we don't divide by 2, we say we just add them. 0 plus 255, 255. Oh, sorry. 0 plus 255, we get 255. 0 plus 0, we get 0. And 255 plus 0, we get 255. So it's still going to give you a range of this, a shade. So this is a tint now of this magenta color. Okay, so let's talk about, and this is to further elaborate on how we can get the tint, the tone, and the shade color. So you've understood how to add or how to mix two colors. So if you mix blue and white, you get a blue tint. Mix blue and gray, you get a blue tone. And mix blue and black, you get a blue shade. So it's actually one major hue, then tints, tones, and shades. So now let's talk about color harmony, which is a very important aspect in color. So what is color harmony? Color harmony simply means how you can combine colors that are pleasing to the human eyes. So colors can actually be high in contrast. That is, sorry, let me add someone. High in contrast, so they could be overstimulating, or they can actually be understimulating. Overstimulating colors are colors that are clashing. They could be overwhelming and chaotic. So mixing these two chaotic colors, overwhelming colors in your design could have discomfort or stress on the eyes. So an example is mixing a bright red and a neon green. I have a sample this. So using this is a bright red and a sorry, can you mute your mic?
Since you should get a land, she pay 20 minutes.
Sorry, can you mute your mic, please? That oh, okay, I've done that. Sorry about that. Let's continue. So we have these are two overstimulating colors, and when combined, could actually in designs could actually have discomfort on the eyes. Likewise, adding understimulating colors to your design, dull and boring colors could could actually be boring, yeah, dull, understimulating colors. So effective color harmony actually strikes a balance. Using complementary colors, contrasting colors, they can actually create artistically pleasing color appeal, and they will maintain interest for the user or the audience. Let's talk about color palettes. Now, color palette is a combination of colors used by designers when branding and designing on an interface. When used correctly, that is when you harmonize them, they form the virtual identity of the brand and they help to maintain consistency. They could also help in an aesthetically pleasing interface. Now, we can have different types of color palettes. We can have the monochromatic color palettes. It's basically combining colors that are on the same, like the same variation of color. So we can combine blue hue with a tint or a tone of blue. So combining colors that are on the same variation could actually mean monochromatic color scheme. Most people use this because it's easier to maintain and it's easier on the eyes. You don't really have to think so much about combining colors because it's basically one color you just differentiate or maybe a little bit slightly changed hue with another one, but you might not really tell the difference. So we have the complementary color scheme. I explained what complementary colors were earlier, combining two colors that are opposite in the color with, for example, red and cyan. So they could actually provide a high degree of contrast and can create a vibrant and visually striking effect when used together. We have the split complementary colors. Split complementary colors are picking two colors that are side colors to a complementary color in the color. For instance, picking, so cyan is this, and the complementary color to cyan is actually red. So picking the two colors that's beside it to create a color palette would mean you're creating a split complementary color scheme. They also provide contrast, and they help in offering more variety as compared to the complementary colors will actually be just two colors. But when you have a split complementary color, you can create varieties of colors in the color palette. Then we have the tragic colors. These are created when you use colors that are 120 degrees apart in the color wheel. So if you use them, they also create vibrancy and contrast because they include colors from different parts of the color spectrum. So you can see the cyan is here, the yellow and the magenta. So they are different spectrums. They are not really, so we have the tetradic color scheme, combination of four colors that are complementary to each other. So the two colors two of each color of the four colors, or rather two pairs of the four colors in the color wheel are complementary. So when you combine them, they create a harmonious, yet vibrant color in the color palettes. They offer a strong diversity and they can be used to create balanced design. Then we have the square color scheme, also harmonious combination, just a little bit similar to tetradic color scheme. So furthermore into color psychology, I explained that with different colors, we can actually understand what the brand is trying to talk about just by looking at the color. So you can see from the actual red to like warm color to blue color, they could actually mean different things. So the end of this part could actually mean passion, love, anger. So red could actually mean passion, love. As it further tune down to yellow, you could see it could mean warmth, cheer, energy, optimism, and attention. It could also mean youth. Then we can have neutral colors that can actually be white or green. I didn't represent green here, but green can also be a neutral color. It could mean freshness, cleanliness, harmony. It's further related to nature. Then we have the relaxation color when the color is cool, but not so cool anyway. So we have nature, as in this cyan part, it can be relaxing, it could mean nature, it could mean liveliness, and so forth. Then the cool colors could actually mean stability, wisdom, loyalty, confidence. If you notice, most brands, they use blue colors like Facebook. It's trying to give that image of we are loyal, we can be trustworthy. Your information is safe with us. So blue colors could actually mean loyalty, confidence in the brand. So to further explain color psychology using color scheme, you see these are analogous. I don't know if I explained that earlier. So analogous color scheme is actually combining colors that are near it. So let me see if I actually touched that. Okay. So these are analogous color scheme, combining colors that are 30 degrees apart on the color wheel. They are close to each other, but not on the same spectrum, but they're actually close to each other. So on the color wheel, yellow and green are close to each other. So BP used this color scheme to inform their color psychology. So the yellow in it could actually mean energy. The yellow in BP, I think the energy company, they could actually mean energy. And green could probably further push the audience to green, safe energy. Then Animal Planet, this their brand logo, they used green for it. When looking at it, you already understand that it's nature. They are trying to represent nature here. So most color brands they use, and it's also reflective in their websites. If you open, all right, if you open ICA, their website, you can see they use the color to further push their brand. So the yellow in ICA means like you're welcome. You're welcome to. So you can see they use yellow here for, and as their accent colors, they use yellow. I think they use blue too down. So they use it to better inform. So the blue says they are trustworthy, and the yellow says you are welcome to their product. With mere looking at it, you're already welcome to ICA. and I think they're a fashion furniture company. You're welcome to, and you also confident in their products that they won't fail. Um, so we actually have tools that we can use for pilot selection if we're having difficulty. So we have the Adobe Color. You can search them on Google. We have the colors, the Adobe Illustrator guide. There are a lot more. I just put down these few of them. So now, things to note when selecting a color palette. You could research your audience. Now, how do you research your audience? You should actually know the kind of audience you're working with, the demographic, the so you could check the age. So older audience tend to like muted tunes like navy blue and rest compared to younger audiences. So you research the age and the okay, okay, sorry. Research the age to know. You can also check cultural associations. So for instance, red can symbolize luck in China, but caution in Western countries. So you check, not you can use red for China and they'll think that they are lucky. Meanwhile, you're trying to inform them of a pending danger. So red could actually mean different things with different cultures. Also, in the Eastern culture, um, white signify mourning, like you're mourning someone that has died. But in Western cultures, white signifies purity. So these are things to understand when researching your audience. You could also consider the next point, color psychology. I explained it earlier. The red could signify emotion, excitement, passion. Blue could signify trust, calmness. Green could signify growth, health, tranquility. Yellow could signify optimism. So you research the color psychology of the brand, that is what the brand is trying to represent before you go ahead and choosing the color scheme for them. Then do not skimp on UI on contrast. So skipping on contrast simply mean uh, don't say, oh, because it looks beautiful, or it does. Let's take for instance, I'm trying to create this. Let me do a light yellow button. Now, I don't want to use gray because I just want to trying to use white. So looking at this the text and the background, you can see it's readable from anywhere. But imagine you use this kind of color. Yeah, it might look a little bit pleasing, aesthetically pleasing, but people may not be able to read it. So do not skimp on contrast. Also consider accessibility when skimping, when trying to create your color scheme. So let me give you an example. Um, what's it called? So this is a a mobile view of a web page. So um, you can see this text is really large. Somebody could you can actually see it. So you consider people that probably might not be able to see small text when trying to use your color. Same thing with you consider them, you try to use a color that can be contrasting, like what we have actually explained earlier. You could also use color to create hierarchy. If you see this heading text is bolder than the body. So when looking at it, you know this is the heading, and this further um, explains what the information is trying to pass out. Also, same here, the color here is bolder than this lighter gray. It further signifies that this is the bold heading and this is the body. This further elaborates what this text is trying to talk about. So these are also things you can consider when the contrast when trying to select color palette. So you also stick to UI convention. So I don't know, I explained when most of you didn't join that. When looking at green, you know that green means go, red means stop. So if you're creating designs, you could actually use red for the logout button or as to signify the logout icon. People would easily know that means that's like it's danger or you're logging out. People won't miss it. So using conventions like this, UI conventions, you can easily uh, add to your. So if you have a notification and there are two options, one is red, one is green. And before, without even reading the text inside, you already know the green means the positive and the red means probably going the negative part of the option. So sticking to UI conventions could actually help. Then the last one, get feedback from stakeholders. It's very important to get feedback from stakeholders because in as much as you are the designer, understanding what the stakeholders really want is very important. So you could actually engage the stakeholders early in the design process to gather input and align with the goals. Then communicating with them as you forge ahead is also important because it makes the work easier and faster instead of going back when you people have conflicting ideas. So same thing with regular feedback. You also ensure that your color palette supports the overall brand vision of the stakeholders. So by relating with them, you actually get to know the overall brand vision and objectives of the stakeholders. Then when you notice that they are not following convention, you can also educate the stakeholders on color psychology, and it will also help to impact and help in better decision making by educating them. To get back on the sticking to UI convention, there are ways you can actually also stick to UI convention. There's what we call the 60-40, 60-30-10 rule. Simply means it's a way to assign your colors in your design that to be balanced. So 60 means like assigning 60% of your 60% to your background color. Then your text color, you could assign 30% to your text color, and the accent colors could take the 10%. So from this this mobile view, you could see that the 60% white was used for the background, 60% of the overall view, the overall design, while 30% the gray color was used for this design. Then accent was just thrown around to make it 10%. So the get started button. So usually the accent colors, the buttons the accents are used to design the buttons and probably headers, like this header. Could use the accent column for this header and the buttons and probably outlines. So that is one popular UI convention. So sticking to such rule could help haste, better your overall color choice. All right. I think our time is fast spent. So that's it for the end. So I think we can entertain questions now if we still have time. Any question?
Hello, good evening.